So did Rich let you drive the mini excavator that's currently in your driveway?
No, he wouldn't let me touch it.
Yeah, he's smart.
I was out here and watched him do, first we did the drilling, and then we did the auger, which drew, we went down 54 inches. Then we put rock at the bottom of the holes, centered up the bollards, and then dropped in the bollard. Got it all square. Dude, he's doing...
Nice finish work.
He's like doing pirouettes out here with this thing.
Your driveway is both humped and sloped. All right, so it's time for real talk. How's your wife feel about 4 54-inch holes being drilled in her driveway?
So apparently, and I'm not making this up, 6 neighbors texted her and said, "What the are you doing? What is happening here? You don't own a Lamborghini. Why are you... Not yet. Why are you doing... What is he doing?" And she was embarrassed to say, we're putting these posts in to protect the cars.
Now, she had a different solution, and that was?
Selling the truck.
So I think you've jumped the shark officially when your wife says just get rid of the vehicle. I don't know if you can ever recover from that.
I don't know.
I saw her come out to walk the dog, and she was not amused.
Let me say this. She didn't say sell the truck. She said, is this to a point where you think you should sell the truck? That's how she phrased it.
Clearly not if you bought Bollards.
I don't want to let them get the best of me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, this is more of a machismo ego thing than it is protecting your own cars. Now you just aren't going to let them get one up on you. That's all this is.
That's all it is. And I'm hoping that it's the ultimate visual deterrent. Why break the glass if you can't steal the truck?
Well, I'm not going to say. I'm looking here and I'm like, there's definitely some ways out. You need about 4 or 5 more Bollards in my estimation.
No way. No way. I mean, you could drive through my white picket fence.
I don't think you should say that on the podcast.
Maybe not.
Specifically why I didn't say that.
Well, no. See that
you have that giant tree.
I have a tree in the way, and we're gonna fill cement in that post over there. So I don't think there's any way of getting out.
All right, Rich. How did it go today?
Went pretty freaking good.
I think so.
We got the machines delivered pretty early, and
What made you want to help Lightning?
Why would you ask it like that?
Okay, let me rephrase it. Why would you drive 6 hours to help Lightning?
That's just my brother from another mother. That's pretty much how it is.
And by the way, I find it minorly amusing. Okay, maybe more than minorly. You've come here, you've prepped your driveway, you've put bollards in, you've taken all these steps, and yet the TRX is nowhere to be seen.
Well, listen, wait, listen. Another car theft on my block.
Right, exactly.
What was your question again?
Where's the TRX? You did all this, it's not even here.
No, these aren't ready yet. They're not ready for the prime time.
I see.
So it's still at work at Banks. I shouldn't say that. It's
right.
somewhere at a warehouse.
Where you were told it needs to go home?
I moved it. So now Gail can't see it.
But it's still there.
It's in another warehouse. I think that Rich's Holdaway construction crew did a gorgeous job. I mean...
Well, I'm going to be honest. It's better than you deserve.
It turned out good. In less than a day, we got it done. So that's what we needed. We needed to get it done, and we left you a few of these little cylinders here for you to play with.
I would prefer you put those in the back of your F-250 and haul them away.
Okay, we can do that.
I don't have... What am I going to do? Hold on a second.
Paint them.
Let's explain what these are. So the guy before me, it's a 3-car wide driveway and a single-car garage, right? And one of the main reasons I bought this house is it's the only 3-car wide driveway in the entire block. So...
No, it's pockmarked.
I disagree. Once the cement turns colors and they do look like boobies, sticking out of the ground a little bit. Yeah, but I think the stainless steel will look kind of cool when they're up. I think the neighbors will be like, oh, wait. Anyway,
these 6-inch, 12-inch diameter cylinders,
14-inch,
that Rich pulled out of your driveway. You're asking him to haul them away. Listen. You've got motion sensors, you've got bollards, you've got a camera, you've got lights. These should be your chocks for the wheels.
Yes, sir.
Why would you haul those away when you can attach them? You know what? I bet Rich drilled through the center, so it looks like a donut, to pull them out, right?
Yeah.
What you do is you put a piece of chain through there, or wire, like aircraft wire, through the spokes of your wheels, and then that way, when they drive away, they'll just hit the body and prevent the truck from leaving.
They wouldn't even move at that point. You couldn't get your wheels over the top of that.
Hold on a second, Rich. What if we drill holes and put anchors in the ground and then I chain the wheels?
Rings like a trailer?
No, airplane. Yeah, exactly. Like the flight line where you tie your Cessna down.
Exactly. The big ones that you put inside the big C-17s, the big cargo planes, and you just strap it down.
Yeah, let's not do that.
This here.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll be excited to come by tomorrow when you are fully extended and standing proud.
Thank you very much to Holdaway Construction, coming all the way down to Southern California from Hollister, California. Yes. 6-hour drive. Rich's crew was awesome. His kids were awesome. It was great. They turned it into like a Disneyland weekend after they were done with my house. So I think job well done. As of this recording, the truck has not returned home yet. It will be returning home soon.
Wife returned home.
No, she moved out. We're divorced.
Because we had dinner with Rich, and I sat with your wife, and I asked her what she thought, and she was pissed.
She was not happy.
No. This was not happy.
Yeah.
This was pure unadulterated. She was not only pissed, but she went so far over on the piss scale that she became defeated. So when I talked to her, I'm like, so how mad are you? And she's like, I can't believe it. Like, it was like, I'm so mad I can't be mad anymore, so I'm just going to exhale all of this.
You know what it was? It was disappointment, which is worse than mad.
It was abject disappointment. So I get to your place, and the first thing I think about is coming back at night with one of those spray-on chalk canisters to put balls around the base of your bollards.
Sure,
because I think that would be funny.
Right, and then when you extend it, that's.
And I was going to do that until I spoke with your wife, who was mortified by the whole process, and I went, that will emotionally scar her.
It would.
If she has to come out in your driveway and then sees 4 extended stainless steel bollards with actual balls on the bottom of them.
Yeah, that would have been funny.
To us.
Sure.
But she was already at the limit, because she told me 5 or 6 neighbors had come by wondering what the hell was going on.
I was not making that up.
And she was embarrassed by the whole process.
Oh, no. One of the neighbors 3 doors down from us stopped by the other day when I was watering my cement, as you do when as it cures, right? Yeah. And she goes, really, Jay? That's how you're going to spend your money? I was like, what? She was literally chastising me for spending my money that way. She's like, your wife deserves a new front bathroom. You could redo the backyard. Come on now.
All right, let's slide past that. What I want to know is, have you extended them yet?
Yes.
Are they extended currently?
No.
Is there a car behind them?
They're in the ground right now. They're flush with the ground.
Okay, but is there a car in your driveway?
Yeah, 3.
Because your wife.
No, there's still a tractor. As of this recording, the tractor's still there. But there are two.
Because your wife told me she was no longer. Because I asked you. I said
she lied.
I said
I pulled it in that night.
No. I don't dispute you pulled it in. But your wife told me she would not be touching them. She would not be extending them. She will not be lowering them. She wants nothing to do with them. So bad, in fact, she was going to park in the street. I'm just curious if that changed.
I pulled the car in actually the next day, and she pulled it in 2 days in a row. So she is driving, and she's driving over them. She left rubber skid marks on them.
But did she extend or drop them?
No, I don't know if she'll be doing that. I might be able to beg her.
So every night you have to go out there and you have to deploy them before bed, like if you're walking the dog.
Only if my truck's there. If my
you don't care about the Mercedes?
They don't. I don't think thieves care about it. They want Hellcats,
which has a lifter problem now.
No, that's solved. That's for another show.
We're not going to talk about that.
You can.
You
love crapping on me, don't you?
No, I'm not crapping on you. I just feel like you had an embarrassment of riches with storytelling. And
I did.
You always say, well, how should we get into this episode?
Well, I installed the bollards. I haven't played with them yet. I am going to post a video. I shot a lot of video. You guys will see what they look like, what they do, and I think it's going to be a revolution in auto security.
Okay.
I really do. Right. I truly think
everybody's tired of bollards. What happened to the Benz?
I went to go move it to make way for the construction equipment. I started up and it goes tick, 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 tick,
tick, tick, tick. It was scary loud.
It was scary loud, and it was coming out of, it would sound like the exhaust.
It sounded like a stuck lifter or something.
Stuck lifter or whatever. Yeah. I went on Facebook with, that's right. You helped me compose the Facebook message. I went on, and within 45 seconds of posting that message, my buddy, Eric Baja from Amp Research, the step company, right?
Yeah.
So he sends me a text because he's got my number. And he's like, hey, my buddy works over at Fletcher Jones in Newport Beach, which is the world's largest Mercedes-Benz dealer. Yeah. So I called up his buddy Kenny, and we had a great chat. And he goes, yeah, it sounds like a stuck lifter, exactly what you were saying. And he goes, but before you do it, like before you drive it to my house or flatbed it to the dealership or whatever you're going to do, is like,
turn it upside down and shake it.
Negative. He goes like, we need to figure out where it's coming from. So do you have a stethoscope? I'm like, no, but I've always wanted to buy one. So Amazon,
Next
they
day?
delivered 7 a.m. the next morning.
I love it.
I had a stethoscope, and I walk
By the
out.
way, you know what I got on the 7 a.m. next day delivery?
No,
Foam sprayer.
a foam sprayer.
Yeah.
Oh,
from
you
our
got
last-
you got a foam gun.
Yes.
Yeah, hot ticket. Yeah.
You guys talked me into it. I'm like, I got to try this.
Have you used it yet?
No. But-
You're gonna like be. Why didn't I buy this? A decade
that's
ago?
what I, anyway. I'm listen, this is not me crapping on you. This is me like pulling life out of you.
Yeah,
So we
listen.
can share with our audience.
I get my stethoscope, I put it on, and I've used them before. I had borrowed somebody's. It's really, really handy. If it's literally just a stethoscope with a long bar at the end, and you touch it against anything metal, and it goes into your skull. It's so freaking loud. You can hear where any rattle or tick is coming from. Start the car, walk out. No tick.
Okay.
No tick.
All right. Not solved though.
Not solved.
So where are we at right now?
So what I was told to do by Kenny the mechanic, he says, get some.
Friction modifier or something?
Nope. He says, go get your AMSOIL engine flush.
Yep.
So luckily we had some at work, and I luckily have the oil that I need, the European spec oil.
Yep.
So I am going to first flush it with, I guess the flush has got detergent in it.
Yes.
So I'm going to run that through it, new oil, and he says, if it's stuck, there's a really high likelihood that that'll cure it.
Okay.
So
Awesome.
fingers crossed, because that would not be an inexpensive fix.
No,
No.
that would be devastating on that car.
Yeah, no, M113K. He did say that of all the Mercedes engines, the M113K, or the M113 is naturally aspirated. The K is the compressor.
Right.
And he says, of all the engines, we love that one the most because it's super, super stout. The one that followed it, not so much.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
Oh, yeah, and then I went to IKEA and I bought a bed for the other room so my wife can sleep in it.
Oh, that's nice of you. I thought you got it for the garage so you could sleep there.
Yeah, well, either.
Oh no, you
either
can't
one.
because the golf cart's there.
Yeah, no, I can't. No, it's. I think the wife is gonna warm up to it eventually. It's just they're kind of cool when they're deployed.
Yeah.
It looks like a museum. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
I mean, my house doesn't, but
Do you
the
think
Bollards,
it draws more attention to your house?
for sure. Oh, for sure. Not necessarily in a good way.
Right.
But-
Because people go, oh, these guys are rich.
But I will say that people roll by. You were standing there when one of my neighbors came by with the 2 pit bulls.
And and turned around.
And he
came
turned
back.
around. And he's
I
like,
know.
he stopped. And he's like, what's going on over there?
Listen, it's
I had
going to be a neighborhood talking point, no doubt about it.
But I like that.
No, I know you do.
I don't mind
Your
that.
wife, on the other hand?
Not so much.
Not so much.
No, not so much.
All right, well, if you're sick and tired of unreliable cars and you're facing a massive engine overhaul, why don't you put yourself into a Nissan Frontier? You can head on
Smart.
down to your local Nissan dealer where you can check out the whole lineup of Frontiers, including the Pro 4X, and check out all the options they offer, whether it's the Utilitrack tie-downs, whether it's the zero-gravity seats, the Fender audio system, the 310 horsepower 3.8-liter V6, all that great stuff. You can even build and price at NissanUSA.com. Nissan is the presenting sponsor of the Truck Show podcast, and we appreciate their partnership.
And when you're looking to figure out what in the world your truck is doing because it's not displaying what you're looking for on the instrument cluster, you got to go get yourself a Banks iDash. It's a 52 millimeter digital gauge that displays everything that your ECM is broadcasting, plus a whole lot more. A lot of that stuff is not displayed on your dash, but is available through that OBD port that the iDash plugs into. There's a whole bunch of cool calculated parameters. It's like having an onboard dynamometer. It'll tell you real-time horsepower and torque. It tells you manifold air density, boost air density, all these wonderful things that if you're an engine developer or you're a tinkerer, it is a phenomenal tool. But if you're an average Joe, the iDash will tell you all your oil temp, pressure, level, speeds, you name it. The iDash Data Monster and iDash Super Gauge are both available at bankspower.com.
And if you're looking to up your lubrication game, you want to go over to AMSOIL.com. You can check out the 10 reasons to switch to AMSOIL.
Ooh, I smell a countdown. Number 10.
Unsurpassed customer service.
I believe that. Yep. Okay, number 9.
Lubrication excellence for a wide range of applications.
Oh, I got to start it again. Here we go. Okay. Number 8.
AMSOIL oil filters have some of the finest filtration in the world with their nanotechnology.
Number 7.
Unbeatable cold
Go ahead.
unbeatable cold temperature performance.
Number 8.
Reduced oil consumption.
Number 9. Wait,
Keeping
we're
it
at
cool.
6. All right. Number 5.
is wrong with you?
It's funny. Go ahead. Number 5.
AMSOIL is great for the environment because you lower the amount of waste oil dumped in the environment
4.
by extending your oil changes, extended drain intervals of up to 25,000 miles, improve fuel economy, and the last reason that you should switch to AMSOIL is because it's synthetic and it's been molecularly engineered for modern engines. We love AMSOIL. It's a great product. You can learn all about switching to synthetics at amsoil.com. What is wrong with you?
It seems like we should end a countdown with that.
Okay, great.
No? And we've got our friend Mike Timmons from EGR coming in right after the show intro.
Oh, is he going to be in studio?
He is, yes.
We should probably unlock the side gate.
Yes, that's probably smart. You guys know EGR for the roll track retractable tonneau cover that's on the back of my TRX. You know them from Fender Flares. They're a company that makes OE parts and also makes quality aftermarket accessories for your truck.
Find out all the different categories for your truck at egrusa.com.
The Truck Show. We're gonna show you what we know. We're gonna answer what the truck, 'cause truck rhymes with the Truck Show. We have the lifted, we have the lowered, and everything in between. We'll talk about trucks that run on diesel and the ones that run on gasoline. The Truck Show, the Truck Show, the Truck Show. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
It's the Truck Show with your hosts, Lightning and Holman.
Mike Timmons, welcome to the Pod Shed. How you doing, dude?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We're great. This is the first time that you basically immersed yourself in our pod shed.
Yes, this is pretty awesome. This is great looking.
Whoa, hold that thought. We've got to play your intro. Don't move.
Welcome to the parts department.
Screw, nut, filter, oil, grill, tools, wheels, tires, brakes, lights, gears, belts.
And your wife warns you not to.
Don't you spend our money!
And then you'll want to come back.
Love it.
So if you guys don't already know, Mike Timmons is with EGR. You'll find him at egrusa.com. They are a proud partner of the podcast. And the thing is, we were after Mike for quite a long time to be a partner. And he's like, no, you got to wait for another quarter, got to wait for another quarter, got to wait for the... And you like, no, you're right for us. You don't understand. You make awesome products, and we need to be partners. And finally, like, he caved.
You might be a revisionist historian right there. I'm not sure it went down exactly like that.
Maybe it was similar in nature, yes.
Oh, I like that version.
Oh, you like that? All right,
Yeah.
all right.
We can go with it.
The first time you came in, we were in El Segundo at Motor Trend.
Yep.
And you came in and you said, hey, we've got this, we knew you for Fender Flares, you EGR. So I'm saying, we knew you for a lot of your plastic parts, right?
Truck accessories.
The truck accessories. We'll get into a lot of that stuff. But you were debuting, I think that was one of the first times we interviewed you in person, right? With the EGR roll track.
with this company, right?
Yep, with EGR.
I kind of like nodded, yes, I believe you kind of sort of until I see it. And then you took us out on the parking lot and you showed us on your Ram, that red Ram. Was it the company's Ram? Somebody's Ram, right? Okay.
And that had the roll track on it.
It had the roll track. And it was at that point when I realized, oh, smack, like this wasn't marketing BS.
I believe you crawled into the bed.
I actually
to
crawled
inspect
into
it from
the
the
bed
inside.
and I looked in. I got my little trusty flashlight out that I bought at Amazon, and it always works. So I'm crawling around in the bed of this Ram, and I'm like, okay, this looks like it's as good as he said it was. And he said, well, and then came months and months later, I get my TRX, and I said, I'm ready for it. Let's do this. And you laced me up with an EGR roll track. And it was better, and I'm not saying, I have said this, I don't know if you listen to the podcast, Mike.
Of course.
Okay. I have said this on so many occasions. I'm sure I sound like a shill. There's nothing I can do about it. It is...
By the way, Mike, if it gets uncomfortable, I can hand you the sign.
It says slow down.
And you can either stop him or you can slow him down.
Okay, got it.
Right, just in case. Just let me know.
The octaves go up, my volume goes up when I get excited. There's nothing I can do about it. I got it from my father. It is better than you described.
Oh, good.
It is so well engineered. And we'll talk about that later. But I was lucky enough to get a tour. I guess it was sometime late last year.
Yep.
And I went through the whole place out in Ontario. I wasn't lucky enough to go to Australia to see the mothership,
Right.
But I did see the Ontario, California facility, and I think I brought back some audio that I played for Holman. I was so impressed.
So when we first saw the roll track, it was basically either very early production or late prototype, right? And it was kind of on the sales vehicle because you guys were taking it around to vendors and showing them, hey, this is our new product.
Yep.
And you've added functionality since we saw it then. In fact, when Lightning went to Ontario, California to your facility here, you guys updated him to where you tied it into his key fob and all that. So it's a product that even if you bought it early on, got better without costing anything, right? I mean, it was a product update that you offered to your customers.
Correct. We wanted to add a unlock button through the key fob, correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
works like a champ. If there was one before EGR, I wasn't aware of it. I'm a techno geek, like I love that kind of thing. I wasn't aware of another electric roll-top tonneau cover that tied into your CAN bus, so when I chirp my alarm from my truck, the tonneau cover is locked.
Yep.
That is novel. And the way that you tied it in and the fact that you used all OE quality plugs, there was no splicing of wires. Everything plugged in. Everything had a proper label. And I installed it. This guy with two thumbs, this guy did it.
Yeah,
thumbs.
we loved your video you did on it too. You did a
Yeah,
great
okay,
job
thank
on
you.
that. You shared that. It was beautiful.
If that is indicative across the rest of the product line, A+.
Perfect.
Well, and we talked about too. This was a particularly wet spring in Southern California, and one of the things you said is, this cover is weather resistant. We're going to do our best to keep it from getting water in there, but obviously beds aren't watertight, and you've got seams around the tailgate, and so you could get some. Lightning crawled inside his after the rainstorm. And
No, during the rainstorm.
And there was nothing. There's no water in it. I mean, just
Good.
the amount of weather tightness that was provided on that was something that he's come back and said, dude, it's like a trunk. Like I can put stuff back there and I don't have to worry about it at all.
Yeah, that's the one issue we'd never hear is that, oh, I got this cover's leaking so bad that you can put fish back here. You never hear any of that. Water is not an issue for us. That's
Yeah,
for sure.
because you did early on. I think you showed me a video, or somewhere I saw a video where you take a giant, like a backhoe or something, and the bucket's full of water, and you dump it on the roll track, and it obviously just blasts off the sides. But then you go inside, and there was something that was not water soluble inside. They were like, look, it's still dry. I can't remember exactly, but I do remember the tractor dumping water on, like a huge explosion of water, and nothing got inside.
Nothing. Nope.
Yeah.
And the other thing we like about the roll track is the T channels that you have on the rails.
The accessory T channels.
Yeah. So for the overlanding crowd, you can put bed racks and things like that. In fact, our friend Bernard over at Lightner Designs, you can use his ACS rack, can interface with your T channel. So that allows you to have a dry bed, open it up, you can put tall items in there, and then you can have your overland rack that has your tent, your Rotopacks, your Max Tracks, or whatever mounted to it. To me, that just seems like the perfect solution because you kind of get the best of all worlds. A lockable, weatherproof trunk, but you still have the flexibility to put tall items or have a rack with all of your overlanding gear on it.
Correct. And Lightner's product fits really well with our stuff, works well together.
Look at what I'm showing you right now. This is a video.
Hey, you need to get on the
of
mic there, Lightning.
Yeah, I know. This is a video of a Lightner rack custom made for your boy Lightning right here.
Oh,
you see what it has?
yes,
It's got
I do.
it's got a screen with octagons in there, which will prevent someone from breaking the rear window and crawling in.
So what he's not telling you is he over-engineered something. So what you're telling me now in breaking news is that you've pivoted and you went to Bernard and said, hey, can you redo this for me?
Not really. I called Bernard and I said, hey, he actually offered months ago. He said, why don't we just use one of my racks and we'll just adapt it? And I thought,
That sounds like a great idea.
So, but I didn't want to bastardize one of his racks. They are works of art. You've seen them.
Oh, yeah.
They're
Perfect.
beautiful.
Yeah, the forged
It's all
uprights
forged.
and,
It looks. They're the nicest rack out there. I know you've got some nice racks.
And in
like-
fact, on the EGR USA page, if you go to the roll track, it has a picture of the Gladiator that actually has a Lightner rack on it on your website.
He's a really good partner of
Yeah.
ours, for sure.
He offered, and I'm like, I don't want to screw up your rack or whatever. And then we designed one at Banks. Matt Gamble, who Sean knows, designed a one. I'm going to pull up a photo here at some point for you and show you this thing. And it's like we do oftentimes at Banks. It's very well engineered, and maybe too well engineered. So it would be expensive to build. And I just put 4 bollards in my driveway that rise out of the ground to protect, so you cannot drive a vehicle in or out of my driveway. It's crazy. I went nuts.
By the way, your wife was very angry at you.
I know that. I'm well aware of that. Yeah. And so I didn't have the money to build the rack that we designed. And here it is right here. Let me show you, Mike. I'm going to get off. That's the guy right there. It's a little, it's very, how do I say this? It's industrial looking, but it looks good. It ties in nicely, and it fits into the track system on the roll track.
You're burying the headline here. If you don't want your Ram truck stolen through the back window, you need to get a roll track.
Exactly.
And then you can get the lightning accessory that prevents you from throwing stuff through the back window to break it.
So, Mike, either Bernard Leitner is going to offer one that prevents rear window breakage, or I will. So you're at some point very, very soon, the Ram guys are all covered.
Yep.
And I think Bernard's changes width, so you can put it on a mid-sized truck as well, which is very cool. It collapses in the center. It's kind of neat. I hope I wasn't giving away any secrets, but yeah, that's.
Well, I guess we'll find out if Bernard calls us.
Yeah, right. So it's cool. Anyway, like it's neat. You know, you have a success on your hands when there is like an aftermarket for your aftermarket. You know, when there's accessories around your parts.
Well, accessories sell accessories, so keep selling accessories.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, you guys, obviously, we've got personal experience with Roll Track. You guys are known for a lot of things. Your private label OE products, so there's a lot of people listening to the show. We've talked about it before, have EGR products on their vehicle that they don't necessarily know about. But you've also come up with a new line like your VSL LED lights, which is a new product category for you, which is really cool. And then, of course, you've got, I think probably EGR is most known for the fender flares and maybe the window visors and things like that. But you're starting to kind of diversify the product lineup and get to more functional types of things, more complex items.
You said it earlier, accessories for accessories. So we are starting to build more accessories to match our accessories. So you buy a set of fender flares, but you want a light. So we came up with the VSLs. Of course.
Well, let's pause. What does VSL stand for, and what does it look like? Because they have no idea. They're trying to picture it.
So VSL is very simple. It is a
vehicle-specific lighting?
Vehicle side light. Even simpler.
One of the applications that you have is on the Jeep, which not on the 392 because nobody realizes the 392 cowl is higher than a standard Wrangler.
About an inch.
Yep. But on all the rest of the Wranglers, it basically replaces that rounded panel behind the hood and in front of the A-pillar. And you guys actually offer it in already painted, so it will match your vehicle. It's not like just black plastic.
Yeah, 23 different colors, I believe, is what we offer right now.
23 different colors?
That's silly.
So that way, when you buy it, it's there. But the light is basically kind of Frenched into a new cowl piece. That's the body color of your vehicle.
Yep.
And then you can wire it into your aux switches. Super easy under the hood. Boom, done.
As well as you wire it into your blinker, and you have a side blinker there.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't think about that.
Except for the person next to you who you're blinding because these are bright.
Yeah, but isn't that the point of blinkers?
I guess so.
I'm coming that way.
What are these made out of? Because you do a lot of plastics, or is this metal?
It is all plastic. What I can tell you about this product is that we make this here in the United States. It is a U.S.-made product all the way down to almost the LEDs. The housing for the lights for the LEDs is all made here in the U.S. It's all made out of just north of Salt Lake City in Ogden. And the company that helped us get into this, they made it. They do a great job manufacturing and coming up with ideas, but they needed a hand with the sales and marketing side. So I can't take credit for this.
Yeah.
This company did all of that work. We took it from them and decided to go ahead and push this out into the market. And
that's awesome.
It's been very successful.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that because it didn't launch too long ago. And basically, you guys have it on the website. You get a pair of lights already painted, ready to go, $569. They're on sale. Regular, they're $749. And then you've got, in addition to Jeep, you've got Bronco applications as well, which goes in the little gun sight on the hood, which is pretty cool. So, what has the response been from the moment you guys said go? Is it something that you're having trouble keeping in stock?
Yes, very much so. They are selling off the shelves quickly, especially the Jeeps. The Broncos, we just got in last week, so we sold a couple of them already. We're also talking with Jeep Mopar about utilizing them, selling them through the
Mopar
catalog.
Yeah,
no
Mopar
kidding.
catalog in the dealerships. Yep,
that could be good.
Okay, so the number one question I have is, when will you have one for 392s?
We are in the works of it. It's just it's a big mold and a lot of money. So
the good news is that it is plastic. Oh no, it's you said the mold is expensive, so it's like if you're making them out of metal, that would be even more expensive because that would require a male and female dye that's got to be $50,000 or something plus.
This is a $250,000 mold.
Oh no!
So you got to sell a lot of lights.
Holy mackerel!
Sell a lot of
that's
lights.
quite a commitment. So you need to know that there are a lot of 392s on the road. Like that's good.
Well, it also fits the Mojave. So
Yeah. So
those
the Mojave has
together-
the higher hood as well.
those two together should be able to get us enough.
Because you're calling up SEMA going, how many vehicles are in this fleet?
Exactly.
It's only 30,000 a year.
Well, it's even less. I mean, 392 is about 5,000 a year, and then Mojave's obviously going to be more than that. But you also have it for Wrangler JKs as well, and so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that one's a little bit of a different install. The one with the JLs is pretty simple. You take your 4 bolts out of that and put it back on, and then you just wire it in.
Got it.
The JK, you do have to do a couple, remove some rivets, but it's pretty simple.
You got a drill, you can remove a rivet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I guess what I wanted people who are listening who haven't seen them, they're inside the cowl. So unlike a ditch light that is basically 2 holes on a bracket, basically in the cowl, they sit proud of the hood or in front of the A-pillar. They may whistle in the wind. They may be very visible for somebody to come and rip off. Super easy to steal those things. This is actually Frenched into the middle of the cowl and then have a slight angle down toward the ground. So the nice thing is because they're built into the panel and the panel's bolted to the Jeep, you can't just come and rip them off. They're also out of the windstream. So people who may like the idea of having ditch lights or side lights, they don't have to worry about, aero, or Jeeps are already horrible. And the last thing you want to do is add a bunch of warts and horns sticking off of it. It's bad enough. So this is nice because it's not going to affect wind noise or anything like that, right where you're sitting behind the A-pillar.
They're also out of the way of the this factory bolt hole, so you can still add more lights to the pillars there if you'd like to. You can also add your CB mounts there still.
Your antennas and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's a fairly shallow LED housing?
It's actually probably about 2.5, 3 inches into the body.
Okay, but it's not so deep that you can't bolt other things down in...
No, the bolts go on the cowl. So there's
cowl.
a bracket. See, basically here, the 2 bolts here.
I'm seeing them.
You put a bracket on top of those.
Ah, got it.
So it floats above it. But this makes it, it's very integrated, kind of an OE look that's going to keep... it's not like, hey, come steal me. Come take my my Rigids or my Bajas or whatever off my vehicle.
And so you're going to have to stock 23 flavors of these in each of the models. I mean, that's a lot of colors. Are you going to paint them to match as they get ordered? That seems
right now
warehouse nightmare.
We've got a couple hundred of each color right now.
Okay.
And as we see these sell more, we'll give us an idea of how many we need to stock and where we need
I'm
to
sure
stock them.
black, granite crystal, silver, and white are
the
probably
basic.
going to be
And
crazy.
red. Yeah.
But like you've got bikini blue.
Yeah.
Or gecko green or mojito or hydro blue or...
Well, I mean, like you said, you can't keep them in stock, so that's a great problem to have.
Well, I was excited when you called me up and you said, hey, we're launching this new VSL line for Jeeps. You go, I'll get you a set out unless you have a 392. Yeah. I was like, well... So let's talk about some of the other product lines that are your big sellers that most truck owners are going to be interested in. They just picked up their brand new truck. You guys are pretty good about keeping up with applications that are new, new body styles. I know that's something you guys even bought a Grenadier last year to make sure that you had all the accessories for that.
Grenadine?
Nope, wrong. Still wrong. Yeah. So let's talk through some of that. I mean, what's that process? You have product lines. You go, okay, new vehicle came out. We want to go after this market. We're going to go buy the vehicle, and then you just go to town.
Yeah, either, we have a couple different ways to go about it. One,
the first one is Mike wants a new ride.
Of course. That is number one.
No, absolutely.
No, since we have a good relationship with the OE manufacturers, we do a lot of design work for them. We also get to see things earlier. We don't always make things earlier, but we do get to see things earlier and help us design ideas and get things started. So we get a little bit of an extra push on that.
Let's say you're working with an OE and they say, hey, we need a step. And you do, okay, well, here's a good, better, best step or something like that. And one is just a step, one has a light, and one will slingshot
fireworks into the air?
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
If they say, no, we want the cheapest one for our product, then do you have the ability to say, okay, we're going to bring B or C to market. We like this. We'll continue refining that? Or
Well, it depends.
Okay.
And why it depends is we're going to be using the OEM's data. And, that's really not something you should be
sharing.
Well, you shouldn't be building
profiting
your
off
own,
of it.
profiting off of their data. So what we normally do is we try and build to their specs. Of course, we have that data, but we want to be very respectful of that data.
Sure.
So then we go ahead and make sure, we have the contracts in place. Either we can do that, we share the cost of making of accessories, or, if it's theirs, something they do, we won't touch it. For the Grenadier is a great example of that. Even though we build 26 products for the Grenadier.
That many already.
And the Quartermaster, then we're not going to build any of those products. We're going to continue manufacturing for Enos.
What are you building? 26 is a lot. You don't have to recite all of them. I'm just curious. Give me a sampling.
We've got 3 different types of steps, rock slides, and what do we call it? I think we're just calling it a side protector. You have we're calling it a kangaroo guard, and we make the ladder that's on.
By the way,
the
EGR is an Australian company.
Go back years into not the founding of EGR, but when did because they started with plastics.
Yep.
Right. Mainly. What's the mold process that they use? A vacuum forming, right?
Yes.
Okay, vacuum forming. Yep. Okay. But at what point did they get into extruded aluminum products or get into steel products? I mean, we throw this around like it's easy, like, oh, the company just expands. These are $1 million machines. You got to hire new engineers that know the machines, know the technology, know how to do, because you can design something on the computer or on paper, but manufacturing it, whole nother ball of wax. So how did the company grow into these areas and decide to make investments in these wildly different areas?
Well, when you look at EGR USA, we're small. A lot of people don't know who we are. But you go over to Australia, and EGR is king.
Yeah.
So when the king says, hey, we want to go ahead and start making this stuff, then we start sharing that to our other locations in Europe or in the United States here. So we benefit on the growth as a global company.
But I guess even going back to Australia, did they just grow slowly over time and add new capabilities?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So what's it like for a company like EGR, which is Australian-based, and they're moving into a market like the U.S. where we have very specific platforms? We only have our full-size trucks here, for example, unless you do a gray market conversion, right-hand drive over in Australia. But from an OE standpoint, there's no Chevy HD in the rest of the world. Yet you have a whole line of products, whether it's window visors or fender flares or steps. That's not going to fit anything else. So there's no economy of scale in terms of global offerings. It's only this, the U.S. Yeah. So how do you justify getting into a product line to make sure that it pays for itself in one market?
Well, it's very complicated in the U.S., and we've actually been having this discussion the last 2 weeks with our developers. We have our own U.S. development team here, and then we also have a U.S. development team there in Australia.
Interesting. Okay.
So there's
new product development?
Yep,
okay.
New product development, and of course, redesigning and then changing products, of course. But yeah, there's about 10 people that take care of all that for us. And the biggest question, or the biggest point to make to your question there, is all of the different options. So Australia does get a lot of U.S. trucks now, and then they do the right-hand conversion over there, and they de-accessorize them right there before they even leave. And like a new TRX, what do you think is running in Australia right now?
Oh, we had a news thing on that probably a year ago.
I want to say it was like 160, something like that.
180. So it was pretty expensive.
It's about 190 now.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, my Lord.
So Toyota just went in there as well. So you can go, when you're in Australia, you can buy a new Tundra now.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
okay.
so you can get a new Tundra. You can't get a Tacoma yet, but you can get a new Tundra.
Pause you there for a second. What's the exchange rate? Or is it like, is 190 not that expensive there because their dollar, whatever the hell it is in Australia, is worth so much more? Or is that a very expensive vehicle there?
That's a very expensive vehicle there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's
just
top
the
tier.
elite are driving the full-size trucks.
Yeah, and they're bringing in only the Platinums and the high level. They're not bringing
because you got to justify the cost, so
exactly.
It might as well be the highest profit margin one, right?
Yep. When you look at the options that they get there on the U.S. and even on the stuff that they're manufactured, and keep in mind, Australia doesn't manufacture vehicles there, so everything that gets built is
all
imported. So you can't go, okay, I want to have my Ford Raptor with 37s and this color and this package and this motor, and like we can here in the States.
Right.
So it actually gets a little confusing to the guys in Australia when they only have 4 options and we have 4 million options.
Yeah.
So, and we break it down. We go model, year, model, year, make, model, and then we have submodel, submodel, and then we have another submodel, and then we have package.
Oh.
So it drives it out almost 17 different spots.
So I can't even imagine how many SKUs that is for some products.
Well, we laid it out in a spreadsheet, and we were close to 99,000 lines.
What?
For just U.S. trucks.
Wow.
That's obnoxious.
That's a lot.
It is. It is.
Wow.
So basically what I'm hearing is if you need it for your truck, EGR has it.
Well, no, they looked at all those 99,000 columns, or I should say rows on a spreadsheet, and they're like, yeah, that file's going to crash our Dell computer. But no, like after you don't do that. I think that's when they look at the fleet size in Australia, and you look at the fleet size here, and you say, there's a million F-150s, but there's not that many Gladiators or whatever it is, right? And you have to weigh that out.
Yeah, well, you also break it down into how many are, your SLTs, and if you're doing fender flares, they're all going to fit. But if you're doing window visors, they're all going to fit. Hood guards are not always going to fit because there's hood.
Yeah, special sport hoods or things like
exactly.
that.
So you get when you break it all down, you can get those 90,000 down to around, I'd say probably about 500.
Okay, that's
still
almost
a lot.
manageable. Yeah. Okay.
So talk to me about some of your newer products like the under-seat storage. So that seems to be an area that you're getting into. You've got the 19 to 24 GMC 1500. You've got the 15 to 22 Ford F-150 crew cabs. And then you've now got the Ram 1500 from 19 to 24 as well.
Yeah. So the under-seat storage came about with a conversation where we see them out there. We know a lot of these companies have them as well. One of the things at EGR we decided to do is what can we do better than our competition? If we can't do something better, we're not going to do it.
Or even better than factory. Like if a Highline version has under-seat storage, but the base doesn't, there's a lot of opportunity, especially in fleets, to say, well, we can build that, and we could probably do it at a better price point than what you're going to get from your dealer, I would imagine.
Yep. Yeah. So with our under-seat storage, we actually put 2 slots in it where you can actually put dividers. We don't offer those dividers. We see a lot of people want to make them out of whatever they want to do, foam or wood. So we allow them to do whatever they want. But we do give them the ability to put those dividers in. We use a very 4 millimeter thick plastic where our competitors use a more 3 millimeter.
I've seen a few of these that, well, the factory ones, I've seen like the Ford ones that fold into a deck. Those are the handiest. But then you have like some of the GM ones are kind of flimsy.
Well, and it seems like some of them aren't that deep either. And the EGR ones seem like you guys have added some additional depth. Like you're going right up to the bottom of the seat cushion.
Bottom of the seat cushion all the way to the end of the seat.
And then they have that you have to drill out the floor of your vehicle, and then it sinks down in like 2 feet.
No.
Okay.
Maybe on the next one.
Okay, got it.
Well, I heard you're going to use Lightning's TRX to
exactly.
To test that one out.
Don't fear the hole saw or the.
I was kind of surprised, like in my truck, I didn't know that until I found it came with the rubber mats in the back seats.
Yeah,
right, the thick ones, and then
you have RAM boxes.
What's that?
Those little RAM storage boxes.
I didn't know. I didn't know.
And they've got nice little plugs in them too, so you can put ice in them and put your road cokes in there.
That's true. You can put whatever you want in there, but but they hang down below, and I thought, are these things waterproof? Like, what's going on here? It was just interesting to see that they just carved a hole right in the floor, and they've got these.
Those things are awesome.
They're slung down like a foot.
So you hide all your contraband and your extra ammo magazines and stuff, and you put the floor mat over it. Yeah. Nobody knows.
I freaked out because my truck has been sitting at Banks for quite some time, and it's been, I don't know, well over 100 degrees for the last week or two. And I have some anti-gravity lithium-ion batteries in my in those pockets, and I put them there months ago. And
are they hooked up to anything, or you're just storing them
they're
there?
Just storing them there. Oh. And I'm storing them there. And I'm looking at my CompuStar alarm, and I've got an app on my phone. And I'm looking, it says 136 in the cabin. I'm thinking, this is not going to go well for me. Like, these things are these going to explode? Because I went on the anti-gravity site, and it says, do not store over 115. And I thought, this could be bad. So I begged Eric one afternoon at work. I said, I'm going to lock my truck. Can you pull those things out of there? And
have someone else do it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, getting back to these things, who dreamt up this idea?
We came up with it as a team. It was definitely an idea, just, how can we make it better and be cost effective? So we're in the middle of the ballpark price range for them, for a much better product that's out on the market.
And this is not vacuum formed, is it?
Yep, it's vacuum
Is
formed.
it really?
Yep.
But it's too detailed.
We get a lot of draw on it. Yep, that's for sure.
What does that mean?
How deep you can do it with a vacuum draw.
Okay, got it.
Or with a vacuum form.
Yep, with the mold.
Yep.
And if you didn't tell anyone, they would think it's stock.
It looks factory down.
very OE.
Factory ABS or something like that, or
With the texture.
or blow molded. It looks really great. I mean, they look awesome.
We have them for the 3 applications right now.
I'm guessing you'll be expanding.
Yeah, we'll be growing this, but just as same with those VSL lights and the Mojaves. So
Can you tell us where you're going next with VSL? Are there any other applications that?
Wait, but before you say VSL, I just want to let everyone know that's only $130 for this underseat storage. Like that's really reasonable.
yeah.
VSL, Holman.
Well, VSLs. I think let's talk about the Bronco one because it's not like the Jeep. Or the Jeep.
It's completely different. You're basically taking out the hood gun sight.
Yep.
At the end of the hood where you can see for visibility, know where the corner of the vehicle is, and you replace it with a different one that is embedded with an LED light,
and it's billet aluminum,
and it looks good.
Yes,
it
and
looks
it comes
really
in
good.
polished or a satin finish, aluminum as well as matte.
Ford did a pretty good job. I like the front end of the Bronco. It definitely has that retro look, but it's so plasticky. These things, especially with the billet sitting in there, so you take out the factory ones and you put these ones in, it breaks up the painted surface and it adds that more like old school flair to it. But the other thing I like is you still have the hole in it because those things are designed to tie down, let's say, the nose of a canoe or something like that on your roof. They're still functional in that way in addition to adding the LED to it. So that's really cool.
Yeah, we wanted to make them as factory looking as we can, but allow that light to get in there. So
in my mind, I'm thinking of other vehicles that have similar body panels that are removable up front like that. And
so are we.
Like,
There's, if we were to go down the next road, you're talking about the trucks, the things that come to my mind is like maybe that Ranger.
Yeah.
Since it's got that little side panel there on the side.
Yeah, the little kind of vent applique looking thing. I think that would be cool.
The next thing that we're working on, though, is, of course, the 392 Mojave setup as well as the electric.
Okay.
So we need to come up with a solution on the electric.
4xe?
Yeah, the 4xe.
I would think also Super Duty, because now they have those really long vents on the back side of the fender near the door trim, and then
don't they normally say like
F-150?
F250, 450, whatever?
Okay.
Don't be giving everyone our ideas.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Off the air, I'll tell you all the vehicles that I can think of right now because it's funny. It's funny. The European car companies like BMW started those types of fender vent things, right? Like it was kind of like DTM racing, and they were necessary. Then they put them on the M cars and the production car, and then it's got like the sport. Oh, I want it to look like, and they got less and less functional, more of a design element, and then all of a sudden, all these other vehicles start having those, and it's like there's a lot of opportunity there for you.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the cab spoilers.
Yeah.
When did this kind of, I don't want to call it a fad, but like the 22 Tundra is the first place I think I saw it. I'm sure it existed before that. In the modern trucks, like where it swoops back the top of the cab and then cuts back in towards the light and makes it look like a wing.
Well, it's for Aero, yeah.
No,
Nissan Titan has had that since 19 or 16 when the new body style came out at the back of the cab.
Oh yeah.
I believe some of the
all the Chevys have
the GM trucks.
Yep.
You're right. Is it more pronounced on the Tundra? Why do I notice it so much more?
The Tundra looks more like our styling than the Chevrolet does.
Because when I saw, you're right, and now that you're saying those trucks, I do recognize that the Chevy has it. And
essentially, it's just allowing the air to go over the bed, right? Like it's smoothing that out.
I get the reason for it, but it was when the Tundra came out, I go, oh, look at that. Like it was just so much more obvious, more pronounced. I feel like it came out like 3 or 4 inches as opposed to the Chevy that comes out maybe an inch or 2.
Yeah.
So you've got them for various trucks. I'm seeing here for F-150, Tundra, 14 to 21 Tundra, Tacomas, all the F-Series, Rams,
yep,
etc.
all the major truck brands. We are working on the new Tundra as well, so not every Tundra comes with one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
So it's only about 30-40% come with them.
Okay.
So, yeah.
You'd think you'd want the aero benefit on all of them.
Yeah.
And so these are also vacuum formed. Are they paintable?
No, these are not. These are out of I believe a polyurethane material.
Okay. Oh, so it's actually pliable.
Yeah, well, yeah, it has a little bit of a squish to it.
Okay.
Yep. But yeah, they come pre-painted, and you can also sand them down and paint them to color match.
So they come pre-painted like a matte black?
With a matte black, yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
I want to talk about fender flares really quick because you've got quite a few different lines of fender flares. You've got the bolt-on and bolt-on blackouts. You've got your base line, your summit line, OEM Plus, and then the rugged flares. And so there's a whole mess of fender flare styles and how much they stick out from the body, and maybe walk us through the fender flare line.
Yeah, so
fender flare line.
The bolt-on style is your standard, your old school with the pocket holes in it, and it looks like you're bolting them on, which don't bolt into those. They bolt into factory spots. The Blackout series would be the same, but instead of having stainless bolts, you have black bolts. Then we'd go into the Rugged series. The Rugged series is basically that same look, that same style with 2 inches of coverage, just like the bolt-ons, but with no bolts in them. OEM Plus is an OEM style, so they're a little bit smaller, about 1.5 inches in height, maybe 1/2 inch of coverage, and that's it. And they go from the bottom of the wheel well to the bottom of the wheel well, all the way around.
Okay.
Cover there. The newest one that we're coming out with is the Summit. Now, the Summit Flare is something designed a little bit different. It is designed to work with a mud flap. It's designed to give you about 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch of coverage over the tire, as well as...
So that's if you have a greater offset on your truck, you can get a flare that still has that factory look, because these are really nice integrated looking flare, but give you more coverage.
More coverage.
Yeah, but what about the guys like in Florida? Now it's become a Southern California thing where, do you have ones that stick out 12 inches?
No.
You've seen those trucks, right?
Yeah. But those guys, they wanted to go
They
out.
they might be a different customer.
Yeah.
So with the Summit, we cover it covers up about 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch, but it doesn't go all down all the way to the bottom of the truck. It stays up a little bit around the body line. It looks more of like a Baja style. We were going to call it a Baja style, but there were some restrictions there we had to pull back on. So we called it Summit. It is what we call as close to the MOF, mother of all fender flares, that we can get right now.
Nice.
So
What's the application, Mike, that you have either the product you've tried to develop and it's just been a thorn in your side because you can't get it to market for whatever reason, or I'm fascinated by like the struggles behind the scenes, because we see all the fruits of your labor on the website. Like it's all great. But like, I want to hear the backside. Like,
He wants to go to that back room that has
Yeah.
all the half-dead projects or dead projects stacked up, and wants to know like
I want the heartache.
which ones were the must-have product that didn't make it to market.
oh, here you go.
No, this
didn't
is
even
a
have to
fresh,
think about
it's a
that
fresh
one.
wound
No,
right here.
it is. We've been working. Yeah, So first of all, getting a Ford Ranger new body style is like almost
super hard,
impossible,
yeah.
right? Well, up in Portland where I live, we were able to get one, and we took it over to a shop up there, and we sent up every single product that we have for in Australia.
Right, because the same platform.
Yep, they've had it there for 2 years.
Right.
Oh, it's not the same platform.
Oh, really?
Well, there's a lot. The American truck has a ton of changes, and even
Ton of
body
changes.
line,
Yep.
very minor body line changes. Yeah.
So the fender flares don't fit. It's the same opening, but we have to do all new trim lines on the fender flares.
Oh.
The window
so
visors are the
so
same.
the depths are different then.
No, the body
No?
line.
I know, but
So the crease in the
crease,
body
yes,
doesn't
right.
line up in the
that's what
American
I'm
versus
saying.
the
Right. So
Australian
you got the
trucks.
way you trim it has to be different.
It's in the same spot, but
Okay.
underneath that body line, it kicks out in the U.S. versus rolling under.
What?
In the front, on the bumper side,
Yeah.
and in the rear on the towards the tailgate side.
I wonder why. Why do
Because
they
the
want-
Americans want to have their own styling, because they don't want it to be perceived as a world truck. They want it to be perceived as an American truck.
But
They-
it's so much more expensive to do that. You could
but
just use their
that's how-
tooling.
That's how Ford
Oh, well,
does it.
that's just the beginning. The things that do fit are the hood guard and the window guards,
Okay.
and our roll track cover fits.
Oh,
But we are right now trying to finish getting that all lined up. They're in Australia. They have to have roll bars or style bars there, and
wait. You saying actually have to have them like legally?
legally, yes, yep.
Why?
Mid-sized trucks down there have to have these style bars for rollover purposes.
Huh.
That's just the
Just the
regulations.
rules, Yep.
How do you suppose that got legislated in? Like there was.
It's something
those
that's been in there forever.
They
I
just
think
aren't
it's
as
been like-
they
it's
just aren't as
something they
free
do.
as American
Yeah.
regulations.
The safety wise, they have to have this roll bar. Well, we removed the roll bar here because we don't have it.
Right.
But right now, the way that the install is that we're missing 4 nuts and 6 bolts out of our kit. So now we're having to redo the kits that would fit in Australia for the U.S. version. So we're having, we've got about 1,000 of them sitting there that we're trying to rework right now.
Oh, no.
And we got to adjust the instructions.
Because wouldn't that be great? You're like, hey, we're an Australian company. We've got this great Australian truck. Now they're going to have our Australian truck in America. We've got great presence there. Boom, bada bing. We are going
Ship
to
and sea containers of product
we're
over
ready
there.
to go.
Done. Nope.
They're all here, and now we got to change it. But the worst one is the front bumper. So we make a bull bar is what they call it in Australia, and the crumple zones on the frame are completely different in Australia than they are.
Oh,
here.
interesting.
So the plates won't even mount onto it. So we painted the bumper, custom painted it, got it all dialed in, went to put it on, and it wouldn't even line up. Not even close.
That sucks. Yeah, that's the global automotive industry for you.
Oh, it's so weird that they would change so much when you don't have to.
Not if you know Ford.
Yeah, but it's
not weird in
that's
the
just
slightest.
That's ego, right? I mean, what else?
Ford is an American first company, and they don't want you to know that Australia, they basically farmed out the new Ranger to Australia, and Australia did the durability testing. They built the vehicle. Even the Ranger Raptor is mostly an Australian product that's been adapted to the American version of the platform.
Who other than journalists like you, who would bring that to the American public to say, can you believe this thing? It was made in Australia. How dare
it wasn't made in Australia, but the fact that it was designed and engineered there.
I mean, we love Porsches, and they're designed and built in Germany. I don't understand.
Right, but by a German company.
Yeah, but
see, I'm with a little bit different here. I think being able to label it an international vehicle makes it even more important. I like the idea of it being an international vehicle that I could take anywhere I go.
Yeah, but then you would have a 1-ton Tacoma.
Yeah, exactly. Very true. Very true.
I don't need a 1-ton Tacoma. Although the new Tacomas weigh 12 tons with all those batteries and stuff.
Yes.
So I was driving by the Toyota dealer today, and I looked over, and the Trail Hunters and the TRD Pros aren't out yet, and those are really good looking. And I feel like they've put a lot of time into developing the look of those trucks, and in the middle of the road trucks, like just the TRD Off Road or the Sports, they kind of look the way they do, and
it's not bad.
They don't look great. They don't look great, and I the more I see the new Tacoma, the more I just think, it's exactly what you would expect the next generation Tacoma to be, but there's nothing special about it. It's even in that orange color, it looks boring.
Well, that's where we come in. We get to be able to build it the way we want now and offer the right
product.
Well,
you have to, because it's not cool from the factory. There's not the middle trims.
By the way, remember Ken Ty of 88 Rotors?
Yep.
We had him on the show not long ago.
Did a U-review on his Tacoma.
I'm glad we did it while we had him. Because
did you get rid of it already?
It's up for sale. And he's already ordered the TRD Off-Road. I'm sorry, the
TRD Pro.
The TRD Pro, yeah.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
He's not getting rid of that truck because he doesn't like it. He's getting rid of it because he wants the upgrade.
Yeah, he owns a shop and he needs the Bollard vehicle for sure. Yeah.
Well, the TRD Pro and the Trail Hunter are going to be great when they come out. But yeah, it's just it's funny, the colors I've seen are white, that orange color, and that purpley blue color for some reason, and I'm just I'm just not excited. I don't know if it's the offset of the wheel and tire package, and they just look like they're too
But
inboard.
I don't think you were really excited beforehand. So that's
not
you
true.
kind of going into it kind of warmish and then just going down a lukewarm.
I think no, that's not true. I think everybody was excited for the new Tacoma because we were so tired of seeing the old one everywhere.
Yeah. But I think when these two, the Trail Hunter and the TRD Pro, come out, I think that we'll see another burst of excitement.
Well, I just think they're much better looking vehicles, and it's the one the enthusiasts are going to want to build off of. There's a few pictures. I think a couple companies have already gotten early versions where they put 35s on a Trail Hunter, and it's money. Yeah, it looks really good.
We're coming out with a different fender flare for it, so we'll be offering a different flare option for it.
I think it'll be cool. I'm excited about that one, especially with the Old Man Emu shocks that are built by Bilstein. Did you know that the Trail Hunter has a turn down tip in the back?
Really?
Yeah, the exhaust doesn't go over the axle. They have a turn down to keep it out of the way of rocks and stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say, for clearance.
There's a lot of thought that went into it. I don't know. The Tacomas I've seen so far are they're like, okay, sure.
It's still early.
I know, it's still early.
Let's wait for SEMA. It's right around the corner.
But if you think you see a lot of Tacomas on the trail overlanding, wait till you go to SEMA.
Right.
Yeah. Can you break any news, stuff that you will be debuting at SEMA or soon? Is there anything that's on the cusp?
Yeah. So let's talk about some of that. We're going to be showcasing in our booth. We're going to have one of the new Quartermasters.
Awesome.
Okay.
So we'll have a lot of our
Did you
accessories
see
on.
the concept version they did with the V8? They put an LS in it.
I did not.
So it's an
Yeah.
LS on. It's a Quartermaster. They did a bunch of them. They just Grenadiers. They turned a Grenadier into like a pickup, and then they have a Quartermaster. The Quartermaster has Portals 37s and an LS V8.
Was that at the Overlanding Expo up in?
I don't know if they
Portland,
debuted
or-
it there because I this year I had a conflict. I wasn't able to go, but they put out like a host. It's kind of like the Easter Jeep Safari concepts from Jeep. Ineos is like, here's what we can do, right? In the vacuum, as Jeep seems to be retreating from that. And I'm going, man, that Quartermaster on Portals with 37s was awesome. I'm like, okay, I'm about that. I like that.
So we're gonna have that Quartermaster in the booth. We're gonna have a tricked out Ranger, of course. That's where
Australian or American?
American.
With the bumper that actually fits?
We're hoping so. Okay. We're hoping so.
You should. I mean, that would be an interesting thing to talk about, even because we're going to be in your booth at SEMA, so we're going to do a show from there. But
You just broke news.
Yeah, so we're going to be in the EGR booth at SEMA. How about that? I would love to see. I mean, it's probably too much to bring, but it would be interesting to show your customers how much effort it was on the Ranger and what you had to do to make the American product, to show them EGR USA made these changes to make this product line for this vehicle. And I would bet a lot of people would go, I had no idea you put that much work into this.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people understand how much work goes into all of this work that we do. You know, we get a lot of questions like, well, how come you don't have it for a Subaru Brat? Well, yeah.
Because there's 8 of those left.
I don't think with any manufacturing, because I do something kind of like you do, and I have to fend off all those questions. Like, why did you have this? Why did you have that? Like, you don't get how much effort goes into this stuff.
Yeah.
It's just, and we're always reactionary. We don't get the vehicle years in advance. So when it hits the showroom floor, we've got parts to go with it. You don't have a bumper. I don't have a tuner. Like, it's just, we then have to work as fast as we can. First, we got to figure out,
can you get the vehicle?
Well, can you get the vehicle? But then, how big is Jeep going to go on this? Like, they don't say we're going to make 45,000 this year, or we're going to make 5,000.
Yeah.
If they're going to come out and only make 5,000, the aftermarket's not really going to touch it.
Nope.
It's just, you'll never make your money back, right? You're talking about $200,000 molds.
Yep.
How many do you have to sell to just pay off the mold, let alone profit?
Well, think about it this way: if your retail price is $200,000, one.
Right, exactly. Well, no, you've only paid it off.
Oh, so
now
you
you
need
haven't
two.
made any money.
Right?
You got to
two.
make two. So like they I don't think people, and I wouldn't understand. I would like, this is a popular truck. Why don't you make, it's, and then until you come inside the business and say like it's hard.
Yeah.
If it weren't hard, everyone would be doing it.
By the way, I'm just going to totally side note and take us off topic for a second, and then we can get back to some of the new things that are debuting. But I just saw one of the wheel companies put out a thing for Sprinter vans that they're now doing a wheel fitment because so many people are doing overland Sprinter vans. But then you get into wheel tire package, you start getting into fender coverage, and guess who makes a fender flare for you Sprinter guys out there?
No kidding.
EGR's rugged flare, and what does it stick out another 1.5 or 2 inches of coverage? Something
It's
like
a 1.5 inches.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's awesome for you van guys out there who want to have a bigger wheel and tire package for overlanding van life and still have some coverage.
Well, one of the other things about our flare for that Sprinter is it is a non-cut one. So a lot of these guys, in order to get this bigger tire under it, they got to do some body cutting. And we decided not to go that route. And because there's a lot of guys that want to put a bigger tire but don't want to lift it up there and have to get all that extra cutting. So we did it without. It's a great seller.
And it looks great too because the way it matches that kind of black plastic body molding along the side, and then the way you guys have it integrated into the way the front door pocket is I mean, it looks OE.
Yeah.
It just looks way better.
And it does only fit on the 170. We haven't been finished up the 144 yet.
Yeah.
We also have some of the transit stuff there that we're going to probably release. Hopefully by SEMA we'll be releasing this new stuff.
Well, that's huge for the van life folks because, as you know, that market is hot. What are some of the other things that we can look forward to seeing in your booth at SEMA when we come and grace you with our presence to drink your beer?
From the roll track side, we got most of the 6.5 foot applications. So the 2500 Chevys and Rams and Fords and Super Duties as well.
8-foot guys still want them. Yeah, we talked about that.
We were just talking about how many we would sell volume.
It's small. That's the problem.
That's the problem. Yeah.
The bummer, it's no different than like the big 1-ton trucks. They're the ones screaming for the parts, but they don't realize that the fleet size is 1/20th.
Yeah.
Right. That's the bummer. Is those guys actually do need the products?
Well,
they're towing the
I'm just
heaviest.
gonna be
They're
devil's
carrying
advocate.
the biggest load, but they need the
I'm going to be
flares.
devil's advocate
They-
here. You just need a longer rail and a few more sections to fit into your into the garage. Make the garage a little bit bigger where it rolls up in the housing there. Make the rails longer. Add a few more planks. Done.
Not
Super
that
easy.
Not that-
Absolutely.
See what you just did there? We just talked about what a pain in the ass this stuff is. Like I totally get it. No, that it would make sense. Like the guy's like, I need one for my dually because I got all this stuff, my tools and all this stuff back there. I need to lock it up. And you go, dude, the fleet size is just way too small.
Yeah.
Like, so I think the guys would adopt it, but again, would it make sense business wise for EGR? Hard to say, but.
We're looking into it. We want to get all these 6.5s done, and then we'll start looking into those applications on the 8-foot. The problem is going to be the volume that people would get it. I mean, we get a call maybe once every 2 months.
Oh,
for an 8-foot.
is that few really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's pretty
but
few.
but that may be the difference between build it and they'll come also, right?
Yeah.
They may just be trained. There's nothing for their trucks
Right.
in that space. So you may build it and all of a sudden this cottage industry of people, it crops up because the customer base has been dying for it. You just didn't know about it.
And I get it. The canister has to be considerably larger.
Yeah.
Everything's got to be
Yeah.
bigger. So
And our canister's not made out of aluminum, so it's
that's
it's
a very
form-
expensive mold.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you thought the other one was expensive.
And we should talk about that just briefly. We have said it on the show before, but all the competitors that I'm aware of have it's an aluminum box or a steel box, or if it's plastic, it's just square. Yours is a very unusual shape in its design that the water, if it gets, let's assume it's pouring rain and you open it. As it retracts, it takes all the water with it into the housing, right? In the canister. But as that water's going into the canister,
draining
it
out.
drains off to the left and the right because it dips down at
That's
probably,
the beauty of being molded.
I would say like 3 or 4 degrees down in each direction from the center out.
Yep.
And it's got drains on either side. So it doesn't just drain into your bed. It drains through these rubber hoses that go into your bedsides. And then there are plastic tubes that go out to the ground. So in the event that the water doesn't get trapped in your bedsides and rust out your truck, it goes right to the ground.
Goes right to the ground, doesn't stay in the canister, as well as they're about 1 inch and 1/8 on the front ones there. So you get if you get debris on the cover, needles from the trees, it'll also wash itself out. We also give access points so you can get into that area and clean it out and surface your cover as well.
I was so bummed. I opened the access cover about a month and a half ago, and I got my spray cleaner that you recommended to me.
Yeah.
I forgot. It was some German special cleaner or something. And I got it. I'm all there, got my rags. I'm ready to clean it. Open it up. Nothing in there.
Nothing.
Just clean.
Yep.
It's like, wow. Bummer.
Yeah, it's sure disappointing when a product works right.
I know.
And
I was
it
like-
exceeds your expectations.
Yeah, well, I just, when you get it's like, I had nothing to do. Just closed it up in defeat. I'm like, well, it's still clean. Damn it.
You're welcome.
I feel like you're closing up this interview in defeat.
No. I'm super happy to own it, and it did exactly as promised.
So some of the other stuff. So 6.5-foot applications. We're also going to have Toyota, Tundra, and a Tacoma coming out. That we should have a couple of them out there.
Awesome.
At SEMA. We're looking at some other new bed products, some storage.
Oh.
Some storage applications for it.
Okay.
So wait, they would integrate with the roll track, or
Integrate, work with or without.
Or without?
Yep.
I feel like bed
Interesting.
storage is one of those things that is an imperfect world. So you've got RAM boxes from the factory, right? You can pop open the side. But then if you put a shell on it, it doesn't work. So the Nissan said, well, we're going to do our own boxes where you can reach over the bed and they open from the inside. And so that's great unless you do have a shell on it or you have to crawl in the back to get to your stuff. Then you've got decked. You have this really great deck platform with the drawers, but then it takes up a lot of your vertical bed depth. And then you've got boxes that are irregular shaped by some of the OEs, Ford and others, that hang off of the rail system on the side if you have the Box Link or Utilitrack or something like that. And I feel like it's there's not like it's, I don't know. There's good. Each one of those has pros and cons, but there hasn't been anyone who's really done like the best version of bed storage.
I think the best version, depends on what you're using it for.
Yeah.
You know. What I can tell you about this is going to be a Molly panel style, but it's not going to be like everybody else out there. So it's just not going to be Molly panels. You're going to have some extra little flares about it.
Okay, I like that. I'm excited.
Very interesting.
I love to see the innovations. So for me, I'm always excited to see somebody take a problem that other people have tried to solve and go, no, we're going to do it our way. And that's one of my favorite things about SEMA and this industry is there's constant evolution and there's constant evolvement of products and stuff. And the innovation is just, it's part of the fun part about what we do.
Yeah, I agree. I love it. It's
So
a great industry.
will I have to remove my factory tracks? Because you've got the bed rails, the EGR bed rails. Then inside you've got the track system. What's the RAM track system that I have? I think
it's called the
what is it
RAM
called?
track
Yeah,
system.
it's just the RAM track
So
system.
whatever the
Fine.
RAM system is that I have, yeah, those bolt right back in with the EGR system.
Yeah.
Will I have to remove those to
No.
you? No.
No.
Well,
Oh,
you don't store or
interesting.
haul anything in your bed anyway, so they won't be.
Dude,
for
I
you.
need somewhere to put the air. I actually, the bed it's full. It's full. It's random crap. but
Yeah,
it's
like
full.
lithium-ion batteries
I
that
was
are
just
cooking.
thinking it.
No, those are in the cab, ready to explode.
No, he put them in your bed
Right,
after you asked him to
exactly.
move them. You thought they went in the warehouse.
No,
They
you know
just
what's
went
funny
back.
is I have a bunch of like rope and stuff and recovery gear.
duct tape and zip tie.
No, I have recovery
plastic
gear.
Bag,
I'll never
a tarp,
need it, but I have recovery gear.
a lime, a shovel. What are you doing?
That's for you, by the way.
Okay, good to know.
All right. Well, Mike Timmons from EGR, thank you very much for once again gracing us with your presence.
Yeah, thank you for having me, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you for being awesome supporter of the Truck Show podcast.
We love you guys. You're great.
Really
well,
appreciate it.
One person thinks that, and that's amazing. So,
What?
yeah, he's right here.
Oh, okay.
Well, our moms. I think our moms like it too.
Our moms do listen, which is super weird.
Yeah.
What's up, Mom?
Hey, mom.
Holman, you cool if we read some email?
It's been a while.
All right, let's do it.
You email, yeah. I email, do it. We email, that's right. Everybody email, type it up. You email, proofread. I email, send it. We email, click it. Everybody email.
Who's going first, you or me?
I'm gonna go first today.
All right.
Got this email from Bob Bierbauer, and it says diesel inappropriateness and the 3-liter Duramax. And this is a little bit on the long side, but he's got some really interesting questions that I think we can discuss. He says, 5-star review. I started listening to the podcast shortly after picking up my 24 AT4 3-liter back in January. I've come to love both the truck and the podcast. I do have a question on diesel inappropriateness regarding the 3-liter Duramax. The AT4 is my daily driver. During the week, I'm driving short distances, under 10 miles each trip, but on the weekends, I'll knock out 40 to 50-mile trips on a regular basis. None of these trips involve towing, and 90% of the time, the bed is empty. In other words, I'm diesel inappropriate. I do have a Bankside dash, watch for regens, and if I hit a regen while I'm on one of my shorter runs, I'll drive another 10 minutes or so to complete the regen. The truck is serviced on a regular basis, well, before what GM recommends in the owner's manual. Do the same diesel inappropriateness rules apply to the 3-liter as they do with the 6.6-liter engines used in the HDs? I feel that a lot of the diesel knowledge I come across the forums is based on experience with bigger engines, but I'm not convinced that experience is entirely relevant. I'll concede that run heavy, run long is the optimal way to run a diesel, but suspect that the 3-liter may be more accommodating of shorter distances and lighter workloads than the bigger engines. My reasons for reaching this conclusion are: about 20% of the vehicles in Europe use 1 and 2-liter diesels. I haven't heard any widespread issues with using these engines in vehicles that are, for the most part, not running long or running hard. My understanding is that at the time the 3-liter was developed, GM owned Opel, and the 3-cylinder, 1-liter, and 4-cylinder 2-liter variant of the engine were developed from the same design for use in Opel passenger cars. Granted, the 3-liter is a bigger engine, but it's closer to these engines in displacement than it is to a 6.6. Other than some sensor failures, I've not seen much posted on the forums regarding the 3-liter Duramax. Most of the sensor failures that I've read about are on newer vehicles, which leads me to believe they're more of a luck of the draw and getting a bad part issue rather than an indication of long-term reliability. The base engine on the AT4 is 3-liter. At the time I bought mine, the majority of AT4 dealer inventory in my area was the diesel, not the gasser. I've not seen any advice from GM regarding diesel appropriateness, and the dealer certainly didn't offer any. This leads me to believe that GM engineers are confident that the 3-liter can be used as a daily driver without any special considerations beyond regular servicing. I can see the argument of why a gasser would be more sensible for my use case, but this is not diesel versus gas. Rather, it's a question of whether the 3-liter falls under the same diesel inappropriateness rules as the bigger engines. I have no regrets with my engine choice, but would be interested in hearing what you guys have to say on the topic. Thanks again, and appreciate the entertaining podcast. And that's from Bob Bierbauer. And I think he's right. I think the fact that he has an iDash, he's watching regen, is probably the most important thing. I have a friend with an early 3-liter who's had a lot of DPF issues. A lot of DPF. He's had the whole exhaust after treatment system replaced. Chevy's kind of shrugged a few times. But it seems like the newer ones are better. I would agree that the sensor issue is luck of the draw. And I would say, the 3-liter was definitely designed with more of a daily driver in mind versus work like a 6.6 would be. But I think the key is allowing that regen to happen. So if you've got the visibility on it, which the Banks iDash gives you that the factory dash does not, you're already taking a step in the right direction. And the fact that he says, I do a lot of short trips, but on the weekend, I knock out, 30, 40, 50 miles. I think that's fine. I think his use case, he's okay in a 3-liter. What do you think?
So my opinion is to first hang out in the groups, Facebook groups. There's some good forums too, but the groups are 3-liter Duramax owners, 3-liter LZO, LM2 owners, 3-liter Duramax diesel fans. You'll just start going on Facebook, and there's like 5 or 6 really strong groups. There's a lot of great dialogue. And there's also a great YouTube channel from Greg Nelson. He is a diesel mechanic based out of Utah, and that's all he talks about is the 3-liter. He had an LM2 and an LZ0 now. And he talks about regens and what to do and inappropriateness, and it's a great channel for that. If you're new to the 3-liter platform, the 20, 21, and 22 were the LM2, 22 and a half. They changed the LM2, updated, and then 23, 24, it's the LZ0. The LZ0, by all accounts, is a lot better than the LM2. So I think you're fine. Just run it. Spencer writes, Jaboobly and Holeshot. I'm not much of a reader, but I was pretty interested in the Rudolph Diesel book. The week of that episode, me and my girlfriend were getting ready for a road trip from Colorado to Salt Lake City, down to Washington, Utah, and then back to Colorado through the Four Corners area and a stop at the sand dunes. So we downloaded the audiobook to listen during the drive. I was interested in the history of the diesel engine since I am a diesel technician, but I found myself wanting to know what actually happened to Mr. Diesel, and my girlfriend was interested in all the derails and parties with Mr. Diesel. It was a great book for both of us. Thank you for having the author on the show and talking about the book, and as always, keep the suckage low, and 5 stars from Emmy Hall.
Lower than the suckage! 5-star review! 5 stars!
And he also says, mount are those parameters, and everything matters.
Mounted parameters! Thanks for watching, and remember, everything matters.
Got them all in. That was one of my favorite interviews, I got to be honest.
Got this one from our buddy RB, writes, Cummins should protest loudly, or we should all protest loudly on Cummins' behalf. So Cummins was fined $2.04 billion for 600,000 pickups with undisclosed emissions, quote-unquote, cheat software. Yet GM gets fined only $146 million for 5.9 million vehicles emitting 10% more CO2 than advertised. WTF, a complete and total crock of Ray.
How do you feel, Ray?
Do you know, I don't know too much about the GM penalty. Is any insight on that one?
No, I don't have any insight on that one. I just think that sometimes we don't know all the details. So on the outside, it looks like the penalty is not commensurate with the crime.
Sure.
But we don't really know the crime. And there's so much negotiation. Like all the people that we've followed who've been busted by the EPA for delete tunes and all that stuff, the settlement process is so long and so drawn out, and there's so much negotiated, and we don't have a clue. And we may never have a clue. We still don't know about the Cummins thing. Right?
Yeah, what the actual crime was.
Yeah, we don't.
All right, fair enough.
3rd Gen Eco Diesel from Steven. Hey guys, just picked up a new Rubicon Eco Diesel Gladiator, and so far loving all of it. Torque for days, good economy, and it's just nice to swap big tires with an old oil burner. I'm running 37s on a stock suspension and snagged a JL Taser and Pedal Monster after listening to your episodes, and it's been a super nice platform for my use case. Could you guys please do a deep dive on the 3-liter Eco Diesel?
Nope. Kind of done it.
Not really.
I think next week our buddy Scott Birdsall's coming in. So
he has some opinions on
he's,
that engine. Yes.
Tried to race one. I'm sure he could do some.
Well, he has a turbo and a supercharger on his LaMotta prototype car that's powered by a Freedom Racing engine version of that EcoDiesel. So anyway, he continues, I'm not above bribing you guys with bourbon and Legos, but I've lived. It's funny. He knows
also,
us.
Bourbon Legos is opening up.
That's a great name.
I know.
You get sued by Lego, though.
Bourbon and toy blocks.
Something like that. Yeah. Do you remember all the rip-off Legos?
Yes.
They were like, remember Bricks Blocks and all these other, like everyone was trying to get on Lego's tip. It didn't work. They all sucked. So anyway, he says, but I've listened a long time to remember both the T-shirt as well as the sticker endeavors. So if you guys would be willing to set aside some time for a deep dive on the different generations or known pitfalls or tips and tricks, I'm happy to box up some stuff and send it your way. Attached is a pic of my Jeep at the tip of the northernmost point in the Yup, Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And that's a very cool photo. So thank you for sending it. That VM Motori engine, that's who makes the EcoDiesel, it is a very controversial motor.
Is that as far as you're willing to go?
Yeah, that's it.
You're out right there.
I just, you know what? It's weird. Like we have a love-hate relationship with that.
Uh-huh.
We have all the engines. We
you
decided
love it and you hate it.
We installed that engine
Yep.
into a Humvee. As I think I've said before on the show, of all the engines we could have chosen.
Installed in a F100.
Oh, you did? What did you say?
Once had one installed in an F100.
Oh, yeah, you did for a minute. Yeah.
Like, are we that far back?
I had forgotten completely about that. Yeah.
I haven't.
Yeah. It's your truck is still at Banks.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in 3 years.
That's
4
crazy.
Years.
Yeah, your truck is it's safe, it's covered, it's clean. It's up on jacks.
I wouldn't know.
I know. I saw it like 6-8 months ago.
Yeah.
I think it's still there as far as I know.
It'd just be like Indiana Jones. They'll just be lost in the back of the warehouse.
I feel bad about
could
that.
Probably sell it if anybody wants to buy it as is with pay off all this podcast.
I think the thing is that the EcoDiesel is its bones are strong, but the stuff that's hung off it is problematic. That's Do you want to do a deep dive on it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it would be great. I mean, we've got the access to people who know it inside and out.
Yeah. Okay.
You work with a lot of them.
I feel like Gamble could be that guy.
Could be great.
Okay. I'll ask him.
Why not?
All right.
This other one from RB I love. He says, the only thing more head-spinning than listening to Season 2, Episode 104 with Lieberman and you two all doing stream of consciousnness is listening to it at 1.2x playback speed, which is exactly what I did. Kind of like trying to think while inside a popcorn popper. Who needs drugs, Ray?
Wait. I got to add something to this.
Wait, hold on. Then he sends a follow-up email and he says, I realize my previous email could have been misinterpreted in the negative, but that's not my intent. I enjoyed the entire discussion.
Yeah. So, okay. There was no negativity in that episode. Both Holman and I were way over prepping for we thought there was going to be hate. We tried to set him up for some controversial topics.
Nope.
None of that happened.
All good.
None of that happened. So my wife was in the hospital the day that I was going to edit the show. And so we were in the emergency room, blah, blah, blah. So I asked my son, who actually is a proficient editor, to cut that show. And he texted me several times when he was editing. He says, Dad, you guys are covering so many topics, I can't really edit it. There's no in and out of any story.
No.
There's nowhere to cut any fat. It's all fat.
It's just how it is.
So I said, okay. The one issue that I had, though, and I'm going to apologize to some of you, we may have left in some F-bombs. Now, we got them the next day.
And it's clean now.
And it's clean. So if you go back and you're downloading that episode now, you'll enjoy a very clean show for your children. But for those who may have downloaded it that evening,
now
you know
what rhymes with truck.
Yeah, you do know what rhymes with truck because both Holman and our guest said it several times. So
hey, you're not absolved of that as well. You've dropped your fair share.
I usually bleep them though.
No, I know, but I'm just saying that you give yourself the bleep work as well.
Yeah, I do. That's funny. That dovetails into Nick's email. It says, unpopular opinion. Johnny Lieberman is still a quality interview. He does have a potty mouth, though. He says, 1 hour, 5 minutes, and 24 seconds. Lightning, do your job, buddy.
Yeah.
Well, I
not
just
wrong.
apologize for that. Holman, I sent you an email a while back asking about my 94 Ranger. No response.
What?
You ghosted him, dude. That's harsh.
No, that didn't happen. Does he say send it to me or to? Is it to?
He
our
says,
other...
Holman, comma, I sent you an email.
Nah.
What do I call him a liar? Nick Lawn, Holman says you're a liar.
Oh, the one that he sent on March 16th?
He doesn't give you a date.
No, I found it. I'll do that one next.
Anyway, since it's a commuter, 70 plus miles per day, up and down the concrete interstate, it's a 2-wheel drive standard cab, long bed, 3.0 5-speed that I'm trying to get the best ride possible for what it is. I've done Devers out back with an inverted shackle and Fox 2.0 shocks. Up front, full rebuild of the 2-wheel drive beams with new rubber bushings and Fox 2.0 shocks. It's worlds better over the undulations, but there are a few hard expansion joints that it hits that I still have to brace for. What else can I possibly do, says Nick.
And then back in March, he said this. Sean, I'm sending this to you hoping you can help out a fellow Ranger enthusiast. I've had my fair share of Ranger-based vehicles through the years. They've all been the twin traction beam suspension.
Well, that's going to be basically the same email that I just read.
I recently bought, but I want to show people.
It doesn't matter. That's fine. Just answer his question. What's he going to do?
I recently bought a 94 standard cab, long bed, 3-liter 5-speed, 2-wheel drive, completely stock, except for 31s, blah, 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 blah. He says he ordered all the goodies that he mentioned there. He says, no hate. I don't like the way Bill Stein's rides. So when the Foxes. When I emailed Camberg to order the middle-of-the-road kit, I had one before and loved it. They informed me they no longer produce it. I've searched the forums for a used setup or even a truck to part out, but no luck. Being on the wrong coast doesn't help as there's no one local that bends beams for this type of setup. What are my other options to get the front level with the rear or just a touch higher and, more importantly, riding like a high-speed Cadillac? P.S. Got my stickers the same day I got my registration. Thanks, Lightning. And he's got a picture of our sticker in the back window.
That's pretty cool.
So, yeah, I don't... I'm supposed to have... breakfast with Jerry in 2 days. So Jerry from Camberg. So maybe I will bring this along and ask him, because if anybody knows, he would know. And
he's not going to bring the kit back.
No, but he might know who's bending beams and stuff like that.
Oh.
John at AutoFab, I don't know if he's around anymore. And then there's a guy up here in Huntington who used to bend beams, but he retired a couple years ago, sold his shop. So it's kind of a lost art. But there's got to be somebody out there doing it. And if you guys have a shop that you're familiar with or a kit that could help Nick out, please send us an email, truckshowpodcast@gmail.com.
Douglas writes in, guys, love the show. I'm all caught up, so I listened to random past shows. On Season 2, Episode 8, you guys had the idea of letting your wives do a 5-minute or so show on trucks. Now,
that was 100 episodes ago.
He says, I don't recall if it happened, but I thought it would be a cool idea, and you should do it.
I don't know that we should leave our wives in here together with the microphones.
Yeah, it would just be, they would just hit on us.
Yeah.
For
more than we
hour.
do to each other.
Yeah.
I mean, no. Do you think we should just say, come over here on a Saturday and we'll give you guys 10 minutes? And at that point, we pull them out?
No, I reject all
Is that
of
why
this.
you're ending the show here?
Yeah, no, that's
before we get too far down that thought process?
She doesn't like my Bollard idea. You think she's not going to talk good about
it's
the
not
show?
an idea anymore.
No.
The Truck Show, the Truck Show, the Truck Show. Oh, oh.
She hasn't liked your Bollards in a long time. Or ever.
Oh, no, ever. It's been a dry spell.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it has. Well,
Hey,
the nice thing is you can extend anytime you want and admire them, too. You just sit there in your driveway admiring
stainless steel Bollards.
Yeah, how shiny and how they reflect in the sun.
It's fun to have 4 of them, I got to tell you.
Is it?
Uh-huh.
Do you like to put each one up and down independently, or do you do it all at once?
They're heavy.
Do you ever sit on one?
No. No, I haven't.
Have you ever had a Bollard mishap?
It sounds like a line from Airplane.
Roger.
Truckshowpodcast@gmail.com is the main email address. That seems to be where most of you guys choose to send emails, so go for it. Truckshowpodcast@gmail.com. If you want to find Holman, he's at Holman@truckshowpodcast.com, or your boy Lightning over here, Lightning@truckshowpodcast.com. And by the way, I feel like some of you guys are slipping. I know that you want some Banks parts. I will hook you up. Send me an email or hit me on the gram at LBC Lightning. Truck Show Podcast. I'm sorry, Lightning@truckshowpodcast.com. You know it. Just hit me up. I'll hook a brother up.
All right, now going to the gram
Yes.
at LBC Lightning.
I said that.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah.
At Sean P. Holman.
Yes.
At Truck Show Podcast.
Yes.
You find us on Facebook, also at Truck Show Podcast. You can find us at truckshowpodcast.com. And if you go to our featured products page.
Hold on a second. I just added some events.
Oh, good, because I know we got some emails I sent you.
Yeah, and then Dave sent me some as well.
Okay.
So there's some new events on the events tab. There's a couple, a lot of, C10 guys are bonkers with their events. So many C10 events. If you're into the C10 scene, you got a lot coming up the end of this summer. And then there's some cool shows in the South, back East, etc. There's the show season is in full effect. Hit up the events page at truckshowpodcast.com.
And actually have some events I need to send you as well. So I have a couple other things we need to add to the calendar. If you want to leave us a voicemail and tell us your thoughts, 657-205-6105.
Five star.
Hotline. And I just want to add on the truckshowpodcast.com page under the featured products tab, we have products and discount codes. I've also added, I had a few of you ask for OVR Magazine. So the Truck Show Podcast code will give you either free digital access for a year to our online library, which now has 10 issues, or a 10% discount on a 1-year print subscription. So make sure you check that out if you're into off-roading and trucks, which I think a few of you probably are.
Nah. And since we know you guys actually are into trucks, if you're looking for a new, great mid-size pickup, look no further than the Nissan Frontier. 310 whopping horsepower. Get your butt into those zero-gravity seats. Build and price yours at nissanusa.com.
And we got to thank our buddy Mike Timmons from EGR USA for coming in the studio. EGR products are great truck accessories for your ride. Everything from roll track tonneau covers to fender flares, the VSL lights we talked about, hood guards, body side moldings, sport bars, cab spoilers, under-seat storage, everything you need. EGR USA. You can do your year, make, model, and find out what products they have for your truck. Hey, Lightning, I've got a question for you before we part for the week.
Okay.
Do you think your bollards are up or down right now? Or a little to the right?
They're definitely down.
The Truck Show Podcast is a production of Truck Famous LLC. This podcast was created by Sean Holman and Jay Tillis with production elements by DJ Omar Khan. If you like what you've heard, please open your Apple Podcast or Spotify app and give us a 5-star rating. And if you're a fan, there's no better way to show your support than by patronizing our sponsors. Some vehicles may have been harmed during the making of this podcast.